Hi, my name's Bea and welcome to my channel, Mama Needs to Read Romance, and also share the books I got in my book haul right now. I'm so excited I can't even do a proper intro. Let's do this. Hello. I haven't done a book haul in a while and I was more than excited to do it. I have so many books, you have no idea. So I've actually broken them up. I'm gonna do a historical romance book haul next month. But right now we're focusing on three things. We're focusing on paranormal, contemporary, and fantasy. And for the first time ever, some of my books are new because of Christmas and my birthday. I got gifts from my husband and my mother, and also one of my fabulous viewers, Amena, I hope I said your name right. She actually sent me via email a gift card for Amazon, and immediately I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I want. In fact, let's talk about that right now. Thanks to Amena. She's lovely. Lovely. Gift card or no, Amena, I'm telling you. Thank you so much. This is what I got thanks to my online gift card. Do you know what these are? These are brand new, shiny, lovely, gorgeous Abby Jimenez romances. As everyone who knows me knows, I am obsessed with Abby Jimenez, and these are never at any of the used book sales, and I've been wanting to get them so badly. And so when I got a gift card, I was like, done. And look how happy the colors are. So these are all part of the Friend Zone. I'll show you the covers. We've got the Friend Zone, the Happy Ever After playlist, which is being made into a movie, and Life's Too Short, which I said in my 2022 Fake Book Awards. This was probably my favorite contemporary of the year that I read. And it was really hard to choose even just from these three. She has a new series that just came out last year. The first book is Part of Your World, which I'm rereading right now in preparation for Yours Truly, which comes out in April. I have the arc. I'm losing my mind and I'm way off on a tangent now, so I apologize. Maybe I should change the name of my channel to And I'm on a Tangent Again. Anyway, so what can you expect from these books? Cinnamon roll heroes, laugh out loud humor, adorable pets, super relatable, very heartfelt. It gets into emotion and gets into real life, sometimes hard things, but it's never too dramatic. I don't really tend to go for super dark or dramatic. So this is the right level of angst for me, which is like, I guess, light angst. I have trouble putting these down once I start them. They've got some spicy love scenes. For me, it's got everything that I could possibly want. So yes, I was beyond excited to get all of three of these for my personal library. Another series I got for Christmas. Talk about gorgeous. And these are on Kindle Unlimited. This is the Parallel series by Elle O'Rourke. This is a time travel, so like a fantasy romance series. These two, Parallel and Intersect. Parallel is the first book, Intersect is the second. They are part of a duet, and it's a woman who is trying to figure out what is happening to her and why she is drawn to a particular man and feels like she remembers him, and he seems to remember her too. And so they're trying to unlock this mystery. It's full of suspense. It's very spicy. You can't just read this and not go to the next one. And if you check out the books on Kindle Unlimited, there is a wedding that is included in the series of 4. I couldn't get a physical copy of that, but I was able to get the second duet that's part of the series. Across Time is book 3 and Across Eternity is book 4. And here we have a woman who is somehow related to the woman in the first two books. We're not sure how. And she is in the 1980s, but she travels back in time. She is going to help out someone from the 1930s in France. This is right before World War II. So of course that adds a little extra intensity, but she falls madly in love for a man named Henry who is at this French vineyard, and he's aware that she's a time traveler. It is just delicious how Henry pines after her and tries his darndest not to fall for her, but he winds up doing so. These books, again, were unputdownable. And I will say all of the triggers in this one especially, I was crying. It really does have a very happy ending. She's able to tie it up with a nice bow. And there's hints of more to come in the series, by the way. More intense than I generally like, but I really cared about these characters and I really wanted to see what would happen. And now I own them. And let's just look at the spines again. Look how lovely. I can't wait to get these on my shelves. All right, so I've been going on and on with series. Let's just keep that flowing. I finally got at the used bookstore A Court of Wings and Ruin. And you'll never believe, I also got A Court of Silver Flames. So this is book 3 in the A Court of Thorns and Roses saga. And this is book 5. And another thing that I really appreciate about these books is if you have a physical copy, so each book starts with a map. And what's so interesting is the first book has a very bare bones map, just to give you a general sense of things. But as the story progresses, each book has a more detailed map. Speaking of series and Sarah J. Maas, guess what? I'm super excited. I was able to get the Assassin's Blade. It's so funny. I didn't know until afterwards that these are the 5, I believe, novellas that precede the first book in the Throne of Glass series. And I was looking on Goodreads to be like, well, I didn't realize that that was the case when I bought this, because I thought, oh, Throne of Glass, I want these books. I haven't read them, but I've heard great things. That's all I know. So I bought this book thinking it was just a book like any of the other Throne of Glass books. And then when I saw that it was preceded by 5 novellas, I thought, well, how in the world am I ever going to find these 5 novellas? And then sure enough, I already had grabbed this book that contains all 5 of the novellas that precede the first book. So I was really excited to grab that. And then I also got, I didn't get these on the same day, by the way, and I got these all used. So I was really excited. These are the first used books I'm showing you, which is such a first, right? I'm always only used books. So now I've just shown you a bunch of new ones. But now here we come. Throne of Glass. Very excited to have nabbed this for $8. It's like the slimmest Sarah J. Maas book you can find outside of a novella, right? And then I also grabbed book 3 of the Throne of Glass series, Heir of Fire. So that means I need book 2. Well, I guess I need a bunch of these. Really looking forward to jumping into this. I'll show you the spines of these as well. Just gorgeous. This is how book collectors are made, correct? So I have more Ice Planet Barbarians on my wish list. You may remember in my birthday book hunt, I saw this one and the third one and I didn't get it. And now I still kick myself. I actually went back to the bookstore and they were gone, of course. So I was lamenting this to my mother and I said, oh man, I wish I'd gotten them. And so for my birthday, she bought this for me. And it was funny, she was looking it up on Amazon as I was talking about it. And she just kept saying over and over again, B, I could never read this. What? And I was like, gee, Mom, thanks for making me feel good about my book choices. She's not a romance fan. So anyway, I thought this was a hoot and I have to include this. So in the book that she bought for me, she writes, Dear B, I could never read this. Love, Mom. Isn't that great? I chuckled. It's pretty funny. This is the very first book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series, and this is the newer enhanced edition. I'm loving these covers so very much, and look at the spine. All the spines are very brightly colored, and I mean, it's just gorgeous. What else is cool about this book is it has an additional novella, a bonus epilogue, Georgie Goes Hunting, which was so cute and sweet. I just loved it so much. And then they also have the Ice Planet Honeymoon attached at the back. So a lot of great bonus material in this book. Here's my last birthday present that was a new book. Don't Hex and Drive by Juliet Cross. It's book 2 of the Stay a Spell series. I am completely obsessed. This was my favorite book that I read in 2022 that was a paranormal romance. We have a vampire and a witch. This is the only book that I own of the series. Book 6 is coming out in this spring and I'm really excited to read it. I was extremely lucky to nab this for $1 at my library book sale. I arrived the morning that it started. Well, I can tell you right now, by the afternoon, it would have been gone. This book I have seen splashed all over the internet. Everyone I know loves this book. So very excited to nab for $1. Also for $1, I was able to grab this by Christina Lauren, The Unhoneymooners. I am just really excited to eat up anything that she has to offer. She's got those cinnamon roll heroes. She's got really relatable main characters. I have enjoyed Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, as well as In a Holidays, the Christmas book that was like a time travel romance. And I am just really looking forward to getting into another one. For just a couple dollars, I was able to get book 3 of the Brown Sisters series, Act Your Age, Eve Brown. This got a 4.15 on Goodreads, and I'm really looking forward to diving into this entire series. I could not believe it when I was able to get Dark Fever, the very first book of the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning. One of the books I read from her Highlander series. I read the last one, it was the novella, and I really enjoyed that. But I'm really excited to try this other series that's set in Ireland, and this got a 4.06 on Goodreads. Speaking of Karen Marie Moning series, I got books 2 and 3 of the Highlander series, which I'm really excited. I'm getting close to having all 8 books. I grabbed this the other day from the used bookstore. I was really intrigued. It got a really high rating on Goodreads, so that of course initially snagged my attention. And then I discovered that this was a time travel romance, and it's also a sapphic romance, which is funny because I thought, oh, I've never read a sapphic romance before. And I'm like, oh wait, that's not true. Believe it or not, the second book, the sequel to Hocus Pocus, is a sapphic romance. It's a YA, you know, obviously it's a side plot because it's a lot about the witches, but it's also a lot about our heroine and her love for this gal. In the end, of course, they wind up together, which is so cute. So anyway, we have August here, and she falls in love with a girl on the subway. And what's so interesting is this girl is from the 1970s, and this is set in present day, but for whatever reason, she's stuck on the subway just magically in another time. It is about a romance between the two of them, but also figuring out why on earth she's stuck and what's going to happen. So I grabbed this. It's only a 3.84 from Goodreads, but one thing I'm learning the more I get into being a booktuber and reading and looking at reviews, sometimes the ones that get the higher reviews aren't necessarily the ones I like, and sometimes ones with lower reviews I really like. And this had an intriguing plot, so I thought I would go ahead and nab it. And it was only like, I don't know, $1, I think was what it was when I grabbed it. This is about 2 people who were born like a minute apart on New Year's Day. He was born 1 minute before she was, and so he got this large cash prize. And apparently that was like the beginning of him always having luck and her always kind of being down on her luck. Fast forward 30 years, fate brings them together again. Well, I'm really curious to see what happens. This one got exactly a 4.0 on Goodreads. I saw this at the library used book sale. I had to nab it. This takes place in Ireland. We have a gentleman who is about to jump off of a bridge. He decides that life is no longer worth living, and there's a woman who encounters him just before he jumps. All she wants is 2 weeks to try to convince him that life is worth living, and he takes her up on it. They also fall in love. This book is supposed to be really life affirming. I was really intrigued, and I cannot wait to read this. I've heard so much about the Bromance Book Club, and I was able to nab for $1 the very first book. I'm really looking forward to seeing these gentlemen read through romance novels in order to get a better grasp on life and relationships. It looks funny and heartwarming, and I can't wait to try this series out. So you may remember from one of my book hauls or when I was organizing my shelves recently that I already have the Bellinger Sisters book 1, and guess what? Now I have book 2. I got it at the used bookstore the other day for a couple bucks. I really want to read these this summer. I have not read Tessa Bailey yet. I'm just so excited to jump in, and I can't believe now I have 2 of her books, and I think these covers are so pretty and fun. So you may remember from my bookshelf tour that it was driving me absolutely crazy that I do have all 4 books of the Friday Harbor series, but this is what they look like. Paperback, hardback, paperback. I thought, okay, I need to break the tie. I'm gonna buy one of these in paperback or one of these in hardback and then just go from there. So when I went to the used bookstore the other day and I found this one, I was very excited, and it's paperback, but guess what? It's a different size than the other paperbacks. What? I think maybe this is just a sign that I need to give up making these uniform. This is sort of ridiculous. I mean, it's not costing me a lot of money. I think, what is this? I'm probably out maybe $5 because a lot of these were like 50 cents or a buck. But still, this is sort of getting ridiculous. Now I have a hardback and a softback that are the same size. Awesome. Would you like me to say something helpful, by the way, about this series? This series is set in the Pacific Northwest in the United States. It's gorgeous. It's a contemporary romance series that follows 3 brothers and then another friend, and it's all a little bit magical. This one actually has a ghost in it, and I'm reading this one right now with Whitney of Tibora's Den, and we are really enjoying it. Actually, she told me she just finished it today. She read it in like 2 days. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's probably really good. So I can't wait to finish it. It's a great series. So this is women's fiction. This is not romance, but it was so intriguing that I had to nab it. I'm going to read this to you. It's very brief. Are You ready? Finlay Donovan is killing it, except she's really not. As a stressed out single mom of 2 and a struggling novelist, Finlay finds her life in chaos. When Finlay is overheard discussing the plot of her new suspense novel with her agent over lunch, she's mistaken for a contract killer and inadvertently accepts an offer to dispose of a problem husband. Finlay soon discovers that crime in real life is a lot more difficult than it is in its fictional counterpart, as she becomes tangled in a murder investigation. Fast-paced, deliciously witty, and wholeheartedly authentic in depicting the frustrations and triumphs of motherhood. Finlay Donovan is killing it is the first in a brilliant new series from award-winning author Ellie Casamano, and I couldn't help myself. I had to grab it. So I saw this at the used bookstore and I was so enamored with the side. This book by Jodi Picoult, I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, and Samantha Van Leer. I've never actually read her before, although I know she's quite prolific in the fiction world. I was so taken with this cover as well that I was like, okay, I need to learn more. This is a fiction book about a woman who, it's like a fairy tale, and the prince comes out of the fairy tale into her life. The problem is, in order for this prince to come into the real world, someone in the real world has to go into the book. And that is one of her good male friends. And I kind of wonder if maybe her good male friend turns out to be something more in the end. It reminded me of the movie Enchanted. I just can't wait to read this and find out what happens. Now this last one is a big honkin' book. This again would just be considered probably fiction. There are romantic elements. I got this book for 49 cents, people. 49 cents. This book I read many years ago when it was first published. Yeah, in 2007. This book gripped me and I still think about this book frequently. It's like the movie Sliding Doors. You know that one with Gwyneth Paltrow, where in one world she gets on the subway in time and then in another she doesn't make it on the subway. And what happens then, you get to see her 2 parallel lives, how things would have played out. That's exactly what this book is. It's very interesting because there's no clear cut like, oh, this is the man she's meant to be with, because she ends up with 2 different men in 2 different lives. There's pros and cons of each way she winds up. I was so enthralled with this book. I told everybody about it for the longest time, and then when I saw it for 49 cents, I was like, I am buying this. So I highly recommend it if this sounded interesting to you. Well, those were my books. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Let me know if you've read any of these, what your thoughts were. I just can't wait to dive into so many of these books. And as I said, next month, we're gonna go historical. I probably have twice as many historical romances, so get ready. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is that you're reading, whether it's contemporary paranormal fantasy or something else. Until next time, thanks so much. Take care. Bye.